There are some Hollywood couples who simply look good together on camera. And then there are couples whose connection seems to change the entire energy of a scene. Tom Holland and Zendaya have always been one of those rare pairs. From the moment they appeared together as Peter Parker and MJ, audiences noticed something different. Their chemistry felt natural, their conversations felt effortless, and even their smallest reactions seemed believable. What started as a superhero movie partnership eventually became one of the most talked-about relationships in entertainment. But now, Tom Holland has given fans another reason to pay attention. While discussing his return as Spider-Man, Tom was asked about working alongside Zendaya again. His answer wasn't simply another promotional compliment. Instead, he spoke about how much Zendaya challenges him as an actor. According to Tom, Zendaya has a way of raising the level of every scene she's involved in. When she brings her performance to the set, he feels motivated to give even more himself. And that statement is important, because Tom isn't only praising Zendaya as someone close to him. He's recognizing her as a serious professional who can push another talented actor to perform at an even higher level. For years, fans have mostly focused on the romantic side of their story. They've watched interviews, red carpet appearances, behind-the-scenes moments, and countless viral clips. But Tom's comments reveal another side of their partnership: professional respect. Think about what that means. Tom Holland has played Spider-Man for years. He's worked with major Hollywood stars, experienced directors, and some of the biggest productions in the world. He's performed action scenes, emotional moments, and difficult dramatic sequences. Yet when he talks about Zendaya, he says she makes him raise his game. That may be one of the strongest compliments one actor can give another. And it could explain why Peter Parker and MJ continue to feel so believable whenever they share the screen. Their chemistry isn't just about romance. It's also about trust, timing, reaction, and two performers challenging each other to become better. But what exactly happens when Tom Holland and Zendaya step onto the set together? According to Tom's comments, their connection goes far beyond simply knowing each other well. There is a level of trust between them that allows both performers to take creative risks. That trust matters because acting is not just about remembering lines. The strongest scenes happen when actors truly listen to each other and respond naturally. A small expression from one performer can completely change the way the other delivers a line. Tom and Zendaya seem to understand that process extremely well. Their history together also gives them an advantage. They first became connected through the Spider-Man movies, where Peter Parker and MJ were still young and discovering what their relationship meant. Since then, both characters and both actors have grown considerably. Zendaya has taken on demanding dramatic roles that have shown audiences a different side of her talent. Tom has also stepped beyond Spider-Man and explored more serious and challenging performances. Their experiences outside the Marvel Universe have given them new skills to bring back to these familiar characters. That is why Tom's praise feels especially meaningful. He isn't saying Zendaya makes things easier. Instead, her presence appears to make him more determined to deliver his best performance. When one actor brings a higher level of energy and emotion, the other has to respond. For viewers, that process can become almost invisible. They simply watch a scene and think the chemistry feels real. But behind that natural feeling is preparation, timing, trust, and years of experience working together. This may also explain why fans continue to discuss Tom and Zendaya whenever they appear together. Their interactions don't always need a dramatic moment to become memorable. Sometimes it is just a glance, a smile, or a quick reaction that catches everyone's attention. And now, with another Spider-Man chapter ahead, those tiny moments could become even more important. Because Peter and MJ have changed. Tom and Zendaya have changed. And the audience has changed too. The question is whether all of that growth will make their next chapter more emotional, more mature, and even more unforgettable than before. To understand why this matters, it's worth going back to where the story began. When Tom Holland first stepped into the Spider-Man role, he was still a young actor entering one of the biggest franchises in the world. The pressure was enormous. Spider-Man was already one of the most recognizable superheroes on the planet, and audiences had very strong opinions about what the character should be. Then Zendaya entered the story as MJ. At first, her character wasn't presented as a traditional superhero love interest. She was sarcastic, intelligent, independent, and often emotionally guarded. That made her relationship with Peter different. Peter was awkward and nervous around her. MJ wasn't easily impressed. Their conversations had a playful tension that made their scene stand out. The more time audiences spent with them, the more their connection developed. And eventually, that fictional chemistry became something fans began discussing outside the movie itself. But what makes their partnership interesting isn't simply the fact that they became romantically involved in real life. It's the fact that they continued developing individually as actors. Zendaya became known for performances that required emotional depth, confidence, and vulnerability. She showed that she could move between different genres and completely different characters. Tom continued taking on demanding roles as well. He demonstrated that Spider-Man wasn't the only type of character he could play. That growth matters because actors bring their experiences into every new performance. Imagine returning to a character you played several years ago after gaining more confidence, more life experience, and more understanding of your craft. You might approach the character differently. You might notice details you didn't notice before. You might understand emotions that were difficult to access when you were younger. Tom isn't the same actor he was at the beginning. Zendaya isn't the same actress she was at the beginning. And Peter and MJ aren't necessarily the same people either. That creates an opportunity for something different. Instead of simply repeating the relationship fans already know, the story can explore how these characters have matured. And that's where Zendaya's influence on Tom becomes especially interesting. When Tom says she raises his game, it suggests that their partnership isn't based only on familiarity. Sometimes familiarity can actually make performances less exciting. Actors can become comfortable. They can repeat the same rhythms. They can rely on what worked previously. But a great co-star doesn't allow that to happen. A great co-star forces you to stay present. They make you listen. They make you react. They challenge your expectations. And when that happens, the audience feels the difference. That's probably one reason Tom's comment has attracted so much attention. It's not just a romantic compliment. It's a statement about the creative relationship between two performers. He is essentially saying that Zendaya makes him want to be better. And that's a powerful idea. Think about some of the greatest acting partnerships in film history. The strongest chemistry usually doesn't come from two actors simply standing next to each other. It comes from interaction. One actor gives something. The other responds. The first reacts again. And suddenly the scene feels alive. That's what audiences look for. They don't want to feel like they're watching two people recite lines. They want to feel like they're watching a real conversation unfold. Tom and Zendaya have often been able to create that feeling. Even in scenes where very little happens, their reactions can carry the moment. Peter might look at MJ. MJ might give him a certain expression. Peter understands what she means without needing a long explanation. Those moments can be more memorable than an enormous action sequence. And that is where Zendaya's acting ability becomes so important. She has the ability to communicate emotion without always saying everything directly. That gives Tom something to respond to. And when he responds honestly, the scene becomes more believable. It's almost like a conversation between two people who already understand each other's rhythm. The audience may not know exactly why the scene works. They simply feel it. And that's the magic of chemistry. Now consider the pressure surrounding the next Spider-Man movie. The franchise has become one of Marvel's biggest properties. Fans have expectations. They remember previous movies. They remember Peter and MJ's relationship. They remember emotional scenes. They remember jokes. They remember heartbreak. So the new movie can't simply give audiences the same thing again. It has to evolve. And that evolution could depend heavily on the performances of Tom and Zendaya. If Peter and MJ have changed, the actors have to communicate that change. A more mature Peter may not react to problems the same way he did when he was younger. A more confident MJ may approach Peter differently. Their relationship could have new complications. There could be new responsibilities. There could be new emotional challenges. And through all of it, their chemistry will remain one of the most important parts of the story. That's why Tom's praise for Zendaya matters. If she genuinely pushes him to perform at a higher level, that could translate directly onto the screen. And audiences may notice it. Maybe the difference will be in their dialogue. Maybe it will be in their emotional scenes. Maybe it will be in the smallest reactions between them. Whatever it is, fans will be watching closely. But there's another side to this story that shouldn't be ignored. Tom and Zendaya's success as a pair has sometimes overshadowed their individual achievements. People often talk about them as a couple first, but both have built careers that stand on their own. Zendaya has become a major force in entertainment, taking on projects that have challenged her creatively. Tom has continued expanding beyond Spider-Man, proving that he can carry different kinds of stories. Their relationship may attract attention, but their professional respect is what can make their collaboration last. That's an important distinction. A relationship can create headlines, but respect creates longevity. If two actors genuinely admire each other's work, they can continue challenging each other long after the excitement of a new project fades. And Tom's comments suggest that he sees Zendaya in exactly that way. As someone whose talent deserves respect. As someone whose performance makes him work harder. As someone who can make a scene better simply by being present. That is a much deeper compliment than saying someone is talented. It describes an impact. An impact is what great actors have. They don't just perform. They affect the people around them. They change the energy of a scene. They force other performers to react. They make everyone raise their level. And according to Tom, that's exactly what Zendaya does. This also explains why their interviews can be so entertaining. Even when they're discussing a movie, fans often notice the way they interact. Tom might make a joke. Zendaya might respond with a look. Tom might laugh. The moment feels natural. It doesn't feel heavily rehearsed. Of course, fans can interpret those moments in different ways. Some see them as evidence of their close relationship. Others simply appreciate their chemistry as co-stars. But regardless of interpretation, there is clearly a strong connection between the two. And that connection has become part of their public identity. Now imagine bringing that energy back into Peter and MJ. The characters already have history. The actors have history. The audience has history. Everything is already there. The challenge is turning all of that history into something new. That's where the upcoming story becomes so fascinating. A new chapter doesn't have to erase the past. It can build on it. Peter can carry the lessons of everything he's experienced. MJ can carry her own growth. And Tom and Zendaya can bring years of acting experience into every scene. That could create a version of Peter and MJ that feels more mature than ever. And if the performances are as strong as fans hope, the emotional moments could hit even harder. Because audiences have grown with these characters. Many fans who watched the earlier Spider-Man movies years ago are now older themselves. They understand relationships differently. They understand sacrifice differently. They understand what it means to grow apart and reconnect. That gives the new story an opportunity to reach people on a deeper level. But none of that works without believable performances. And that's where Tom's statement becomes the central point. He says Zendaya raises his game. That means she challenges him. She doesn't allow him to settle for the easiest version of a scene. She encourages him, directly or indirect. CTLY to give more. And that's exactly the kind of partnership actors need. You don't want a co-star who simply agrees with everything you do. You want someone who makes you question your choices. Someone who can surprise you. Someone who gives you something unexpected to react to. Someone who makes you think, I need to bring more to this moment. If Zendaya has that effect on Tom, then their scenes could benefit enormously. And the same can work in reverse. Tom's energy can push Zendaya. His physicality, humor, and emotional style can give her something different to respond to. Together, they create a creative feedback loop. One performance influences the other. The other performance changes the first. And the final scene becomes stronger because neither actor is working alone. That's the real meaning behind chemistry. It's not simply attraction. It's collaboration. It's communication. It's trust. It's timing. And after years of working together, Tom and Zendaya have had plenty of time to develop all four. So when fans see them together again, they may notice something different. Maybe it will feel more confident. Maybe more emotional. Maybe more mature. Maybe the chemistry will be quieter but stronger. Sometimes the best chemistry isn't loud. It doesn't need dramatic declarations. It can exist in silence. A look across a room. A small smile. A moment where one character understands what the other is thinking. Those are the moments that can stay with audiences. And Zendaya has consistently shown that she understands the power of subtle performance. Tom, meanwhile, has developed an ability to combine humor with vulnerability. Put those two strengths together, and you have a very interesting combination. Peter Parker needs humor. He needs vulnerability. He needs fear. He needs confidence. MJ needs intelligence. She needs emotional strength. She needs independence. When those qualities collide, the result can be compelling. That's why their partnership matters so much to the Spider-Man story. Peter may be the superhero, but MJ helps keep him connected to his humanity. And Zendaya's performance can make that connection believable. Tom's performance then has to respond. He has to show what Peter feels without always explaining it. That's difficult. But with the right co-star, it becomes possible. And Tom appears to believe that Zendaya is exactly that kind of co-star. Someone who brings out more from him. Someone who makes him raise his game. Someone who changes the energy of a scene. That's why this isn't just another celebrity headline. It's a story about how two talented performers can influence each other. And perhaps that's the part fans should focus on most. Not every interaction needs to become a rumor. Not every smile needs to become a headline. Sometimes the most interesting story is simply that two actors respect each other's craft. Tom Holland's praise gives us a glimpse into that relationship. And it makes the upcoming Spider-Man chapter even more intriguing. Because fans aren't just going to watch Peter Parker. They're going to watch how Tom performs when Zendaya is across from him. They're going to watch the reactions. They're going to watch the pauses. They're going to watch the moments where the characters communicate without words. And they may discover that Tom's statement was more important than it first appeared. Zendaya doesn't simply make the scene better for the audience. She makes Tom better. And if Tom brings that higher level of performance into the new Spider-Man movie, the results could be something fans have been waiting years to see. A more mature Peter. A more confident MJ. A deeper relationship. And a partnership between two actors who know exactly how to challenge each other. That's a powerful combination. Of course, nobody can predict exactly how audiences will react until they see the finished movie. Trailers can create expectations. Interviews can create excitement. Photos can create theories. But ultimately, the performances have to speak for themselves. And that is what makes Tom's comments so interesting. He has already given audiences a reason to pay attention. He has already explained that working with Zendaya pushes him. Now the question is what that push will look like on screen. Will we see more emotional depth? Will their scenes feel more natural? Will Peter and MJ have a stronger connection than before? Could their chemistry become one of the biggest talking points of the entire movie? Those questions are impossible to answer completely right now. But they are exactly the questions that keep fans interested. And perhaps the biggest reason the story resonates is because people understand the idea. Most of us know what it feels like to have someone who brings out our best. A teacher, a teammate, a friend, a colleague, someone who makes us think differently, someone who makes us work harder, someone who doesn't let us settle. For Tom Holland, that person may be Zendaya when they're working together. And for Zendaya, Tom may have a similar influence. That doesn't mean every scene is perfect. It doesn't mean every performance will be universally loved. It simply means they have a creative relationship that can push both of them. And that is valuable, especially in a franchise where expectations are enormous. Spider-Man has been part of popular culture for decades. Every new version is compared with what came before. Every actor faces pressure. Every relationship is examined. So having a co-star you trust can make a huge difference. Tom and Zendaya already know what it feels like to face that pressure together. They've experienced the excitement. They've experienced the criticism. They've watched their characters become beloved. And they've watched their personal lives become a constant topic of public interest. Yet, through all of that, they have continued developing as performers. That's something worth remembering. because their story isn't simply about two celebrities who fell in love. It's also about two young actors who grew into major stars while working alongside each other. They watched each other evolve. They learned from each other. And now they're returning to the franchise that helped introduce them to the world as one of Hollywood's most recognizable screen partnerships. That makes the next chapter feel different. There's history behind every scene. There's experience behind every performance. And there's an audience that already cares deeply about the outcome. So when Tom says Zendaya raises his game, perhaps fans should take that statement seriously. Maybe the secret to their chemistry has never been complicated. Maybe it's simply that they listen to each other. They challenge each other. They trust each other. And they make each other better. That is what great acting partnerships are built on. Not just attraction, not just popularity, but respect. And if that respect continues to shape their work, the next chapter of Peter Parker and MJ could be one of their most memorable yet. Imagine the first major scene they share. The audience already knows who they are. They already know their history. They already know what these characters mean to each other. But then something small happens. MJ looks at Peter. Peter reacts. There's a pause. Maybe neither says what they're thinking. And suddenly the entire theater understands. That's the kind of moment that can define a relationship on screen. It doesn't require a huge speech. It requires actors who understand each other. Actors who know how to communicate through small details. Actors who can make silence feel meaningful. And that's exactly where Tom and Zendaya may have an advantage. They've spent years learning each other's performances. They know each other's strengths. They know how to surprise one another. They know how to create a reaction. And that experience cannot simply be copied. It's built over time. That's why fans are watching. Not because they need another rumor. Not because they need another headline. But because they want to see what happens when two actors who have grown so much return to the roles that change their careers. Tom Holland has already given them a clue. Zendaya pushes him. She makes him raise his level. She makes him want to bring more. And if that influence appears in their new scenes, fans may be looking at a version of Peter and MJ that feels completely different. Maybe the relationship will be more mature. Maybe the emotional stakes will be higher. Maybe their connection will be tested in ways audiences haven't seen before. Whatever happens, one thing is clear. Their chemistry remains one of the most important parts of the Spider-Man story. And Tom Holland's latest comments have reminded everyone why. Because behind every memorable scene are actors who are willing to challenge each other. Behind every believable relationship are performers who know how to listen. And behind every great partnership is trust. Tom and Zendaya seem to have built all three. So, as the next chapter approaches, fans may want to look beyond the obvious. Don't just watch the action. Don't just watch Spider-Man swing through the city. Don't just wait for the big moments. Watch Tom's reactions when Zendaya speaks. Watch Zendaya's expressions when Tom responds. Look at the pauses. Look at the small gestures. Look at the moments between the dialogue. Those details may reveal more about their chemistry than any promotional interview ever could. Because sometimes the strongest performances happen in the moments nobody is talking about. And that's exactly what makes Tom's comment so fascinating. He didn't simply say Zendaya is talented. He explained that her talent affects his own performance. She makes him raise his game. And that may be the real reason their scenes continue to connect with audiences around the world. Their story began with Spider-Man. It grew through years of friendship, professional collaboration, and personal connection. And now, they're entering another chapter with more experience, more expectations, and more attention than ever. The stakes are high, but so is the potential. If Tom Holland and Zendaya can continue challenging each other the way Tom describes, their next Spider-Man scenes could become some of the most memorable moments in the franchise. And maybe, after all these years, fans are finally beginning to understand the secret behind their chemistry. It's not just about being a famous couple. It's not just about playing beloved characters. It's about two performers who make each other better. Tom Holland raises his performance because Zendaya challenges him. Zendaya brings her own talent and energy because Tom gives her something to respond to. Together, they create something neither could create alone. That is the real power of a great acting partnership. And now, All eyes are on their next chapter. Will their chemistry be stronger than ever? Will Peter and MJ feel more mature? Will Zendaya's influence help Tom deliver one of his strongest Spider-Man performances yet? Fans will have to wait and see. But one thing is already certain. Tom Holland has made his feelings about working with Zendaya very clear. She pushes him, she challenges him, and she raises his game. And if that statement is any indication of what's coming, fans may have plenty to talk about when Peter Parker and MJ finally return to the screen. Because sometimes the most exciting part of a movie isn't the biggest action sequence. It's the relationship at the center of it. And for Spider-Man, that relationship has always been Peter and MJ. Now, with Tom Holland and Zendaya bringing years of experience into those roles, their next chapter could carry a level of emotion that audiences haven't seen before. The story has changed. The actors have changed. The characters have changed. But one thing remains. When Tom Holland and Zendaya share a scene, people pay attention. And perhaps that's because, as Tom himself has suggested, they don't simply work beside each other. They push each other. They challenge each other. And they make each other better. That may be the secret behind the chemistry fans simply can't stop talking about.